What's up, guys? So today I'm reviewing this ULANZI 150B that I got off of Amazon. Now, I've never heard of this company before, but given the price point and the features that this thing offered, I figured I'd give it a shot. So first impressions when I was pulling this out of the box, I felt like I was holding a light that was 4 or 5 times as much, or cost 4 or 5 times as much as it actually did. Because this thing is solidly built. It's very nice. It has like a solid aluminum body around here. It has like a rubberized plastic pieces front and back. This thing feels like a tank in your hand. All the dials on the back work really nice and smooth. The buttons, all of it. Very thoughtful, very well put together. The yoke is nicely made, does not feel cheap. It locks down nice and solid on here. Even has over here a little cord organizer, which is super important when you're on set, just to be able to keep things nice and clean and kind of together. As far as the actual functionality of the light goes, it works just as it's supposed to, right? Like it has color temperature adjustment. You can go warm, cooler, depending whether you're outdoors, indoors, the kind of lighting you're going for. You're able to dim it. It have dimming functionality in here, so you can turn it nice and smoothly. You can also click if you want it to go a little bit, faster through the dimming or the brightening stuff. It does come with a remote that has a little USB-C charging port on it, which is nice, and you're able to control the light that way through the remote or via the back here. Now, given how well built this is, considering how well it functions, there are a few things that kind of got me as to maybe a little confused as to why they didn't include it on there. The first thing is the remote, right? Comes with a handheld remote. There is no app functionality on it, which if you're using one light, that's fine. But can you imagine if you have 3 or 4 different lights from maybe different brands? If you have different lights of the same one, you can control it all from the app. But if you have different brands, a lot of us do, you're gonna have 4 or 5 different remotes. You're gonna have to juggle, make sure they're charged, find them in your bag. Having an app to control your light is just so much more convenient. Having it on your phone, we always have our phones with us, but with this light, there is no option for that. So it feels like you're kind of stepping back a few years as far as the advancements in lights have gone, having to use an actual handheld remote. Another issue with it, it does not come with a cover for the front of the light. Like, this is the way it comes right out of the box, and that's it. Some of the reviewers have said, oh, well, you don't need a cover. It has this, this clear, I think it's glass over top of the chip. The chip's protected. That is true, but that glass over top of the chip can get scratched. It can get fingerprints on it, right? You can't just throw this, well, unless you throw any light, but you can't just put this into a crate and call it good, because that thing definitely needs protection. You do not want to crack that or anything like that. So why they didn't include a cover, which is standard on every light I've ever received, I'm not sure. Another issue with this is it doesn't come with an actual carrying case, right? Because it doesn't have a cover on it, you're gonna need to make sure this thing is protected, make sure it's stored well. You can store it in the box. It comes obviously in the padding and everything, but that's annoying. You don't want your box is gonna eventually fall apart. It's just cardboard. So why they didn't include a case with it, I'm sure they're just trying to save on money, so oh well, but this is going to be annoying trying to figure out how to store and transport this thing, especially without the cover on the top. I'm probably gonna have to look and see if I can find a replacement cover for an aperture light or something like that, and then put it on here, because it does have, which is nice, has a standard Bowens mount, so you can put your other aperture modifiers or any other light modifiers that you get on here. Another odd thing that they didn't include was the fact that there is no reflector for this. So it just comes, like, you get this, the remote, and the power cable, and like that's it in the box. So the fact that it doesn't have a reflector, you can obviously run it without a reflector, but that you're losing light because it just throws light all over the place, makes it harder to direct. So unless you have a modifier, right, like, well, you do need a modifier, you're not going to be able to really use it without that. Now, something I didn't mention is the fan noise, and I tested this out against my Aperture 300D, which is a very powerful light, but it has a very quiet motor. So I use it in interviews all the time, quiet sets, no problem. This thing, it does really well as far as noise go. I've not had any issues with the fan speeding up too much. It's actually quiet when you first turn it on. Other lights that I've gotten off of Amazon, the fan turns on right away and it's super loud. The fan stays off until it needs to turn on, and when it does turn on, very low, pleasant hum, you know, if you can say that about these electric fans. So no problem at all using this on set and having it affect your audio. I mean, obviously you can hear it if you put your ear up to it, but if it's a few feet away from the camera or from your microphone, you should be fine with that. So overall, you know, it's a very simple light. I mean, it doesn't come with bells and whistles, but obviously you can consider the price point for it. So budget-wise, I mean, this definitely, I think, fits into a lot of people's budget, especially if you're starting out. It's a great little piece of kit to have. I would give this thing 5 stars if it included those things that I feel like are kind of standard for lights nowadays. App control, cover for the COB chip, carry case for it, as well as a reflector. Now that's not gonna, it doesn't affect the performance of the light, but just the usability of it. So as it is, you know, I give it 5 stars, but I would still recommend it, especially if you're starting out. It's great to be able to have the functionality of being able to adjust your color, temperature, your light. That's gonna be a lifesaver for you when you're out there doing your shoots.